In shape, 145.
Yeah.
In shape. You know what I mean? So this is different from a Crawford coming up to 168, but we know his walk around weight is probably 170, 180.
Tank Davis, only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility.
Reports suggest that Terence Crawford recently paid a visit to Gervonta "Tank" Davis ahead of his upcoming bout with Jake Paul. During their time together, Crawford shared strategic insights and training advice, exchanging techniques with Davis in what appeared to be a respectful meeting between two elite champions. Sources say Crawford praised Tank's discipline and raw talent, even mentioning that if Davis ever wanted to face him someday, he'd welcome it, not out of rivalry, but as a tribute to the sport itself.
Gervonta Davis speaking about you. Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Ooh.
Wow, man. Gervonta said you got a glass.
He said I got a glass chin. Tell him to come and touch it.
At 147?
At 147. I'll make 147.
Ooh, see, oh man.
You're gonna have a pre-camp.
Then what the people gonna say? Oh, he's beating up on little guys.
I don't know.
It seems Tank is now taking notes straight from Crawford's playbook. Terence is widely considered one of boxing's most technically complete fighters, known for his ability to switch stances effortlessly, control distance, and maintain flawless rhythm. Recent footage from Tank's training camp shows him experimenting with similar techniques, switching stances mid-combination, cutting angles, and refining his footwork like never before. Observers believe he's not only inspired by Crawford, but also taking cues from Jaron "Boots" Ennis, another fighter who excels in both orthodox and southpaw styles. This evolution suggests Tank's preparing something special to catch Jake Paul completely off guard.
Right. This is scary. Gervonta Tank Davis is working on his versatility. We already know he has that ultimate equalizer, that special God-gifted one-punch knockout power. But he also can box. Gervonta Tank Davis, he's very durable, has a chin, never seen him visibly hurt. Gervonta Tank Davis also has great footwork and foot placement. And here you see Gervonta Tank Davis, only shortcoming, pun intended, is his height. He's 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. But as you can see here, he's working on his versatility. He's now working on fighting orthodox. He's naturally a southpaw. Now he's working on fighting orthodox. Great switch hitters, no diddy, in the sport of boxing.
Boxing analyst Showbiz the Adult recently shared his take on the upcoming fight, warning that it has to deliver real entertainment. According to him, fans aren't paying to watch a friendly sparring match. If both fighters decide to play it safe to avoid embarrassment, it could ruin their reputations overnight. Their fan bases expect fireworks, intensity, power, and risk. Anything less than that, Showbiz says, would kill the hype and damage both fighters' credibility.
Career ending. It could be career ending. Jake Paul can end his whole shit. That's the black. Tank can end Jake Paul's whole shit. And if that fight is meh, and it's just a sparring session that's tit for tat, their shit's over. Because people gonna be pissed that it's exactly what they expected it to be. They can't do that. If they do, their career's ruined. Jake Paul's career's ruined, and Tank. If they make it meh and just touch, both their brands suck. That's the black two sugars. You mess around in that bell ring, and you see little Tank, and you see big Jake, and he's throwing a jab, and little Tank making a miss, and bam, y'all gonna be like, whoa, say I'm lying. Y'all, you know what? Yes, say I'm lying. Please say I'm lying. But y'all gonna be right there, cheering, because you ain't never seen nothing that damn bizarre. Even Even De La Hoya versus Shaq had headgear, and Shaq ain't a boxer. That right there, fireworks. Because you're going to be holding your breath, especially Tank fans. I'm going to be like, don't hit Tank. You're going to see Tank little ass legs. He's going to, and big ass Jake, big legs and big ass head. Bam, bam. Watch. Y'all talk all that shit now because y'all love talking shit. Y'all love hating on things until you see it. Like women back in the 90s. I remember my sisters back in the 90s. You ain't that cute. You ain't, but all on your shit. That's what y'all do. Y'all talk shit, but y'all the first ones there.
Keith Thurman also chimed in, calling out the irony in how fans treat Tank Davis. He explained that many of the same people who constantly criticize him are also glued to every one of his fights. They might call his performances overrated, but their constant attention only makes his name grow bigger. In Thurman's view, even negative attention fuels Tank's stardom. Every complaint, every tweet, every argument online keeps his spotlight burning.
If you're really not happy with Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What's it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know,
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only, you know. It is what it is, people.
Clarissa Shields recently stated that the only fight that truly makes sense for Tank is against Shakur Stevenson. But that didn't sit well with Davis. Tank responded firmly, saying that no one has the right to tell him what to do. His message was clear. Fans should support him as spectators, not try to manage his career. This reaction likely comes from the sting of recent criticism following his draw against Lamont Roach, where even some of his own supporters turned against him online. Now, Tank's mindset is straightforward. He fights on his own terms, not for anyone else's approval.
And says that, you know, pretty much the only people that can beat him is Shakur Stevenson. And I don't know who else he said. He said she thought that at a point in time that Devin Haney could beat him, but now she doesn't believe that. But so really the only fight that there is for Gervonta Davis is Shakur. What a mighty, mighty convenient argument. And Gervonta Davis responded, and basically his response was, "Come on, girl, stop talking about me so much because you're making me feel like I'm special." Right? So he pretty much just, you know, kind of blows it off. But I really think that there's something much deeper going on here. And it is that this, and I said it again, I said it in another video, I'll say it in this one, the Bud Buddies. The Bud Buddies are a crew of boxers that all hang around and worship Terence Bud Crawford. And the main two members of it, besides the people that are actually in Terence Crawford's camp, as fighters are Shakur Stevenson and Clarissa Shields, without a doubt. Clarissa Shields is a huge backer of Terence and a huge backer of Shakur Stevenson. At the end of the day, the only thing she really cares about is what's in the best interest of Shakur Stevenson. And anything and everything she say is angled that way to get Gervonta Davis to do something that Shakur Stevenson wants him to do, which is really do all the hard work and then be there for Shakur Stevenson to become a star at the end of it. I'm telling you, man, I believe that to the bottom of my soul, that is the same plan that Terence Crawford ran on Errol Spence Jr.
Many boxing purists argue that a matchup between Tank Davis and Jake Paul doesn't fit within the sport's traditional structure. They point out that this isn't a contest between equals, but rather something that sits halfway between a legitimate bout and a commercial spectacle. Usually, exhibition fights are reserved for retired legends, but both Tank and Jake are still in their primes. That makes this event unusual. It blurs the line between serious competition and viral entertainment.
fights like this with fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser, because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has everything his way.
Perhaps the most controversial element of this fight is the weight difference. Jake Paul naturally hovers around cruiserweight, while Tank Davis competes anywhere between lightweight and super lightweight. That's a gap of roughly 60 to 70 pounds, a massive disparity in boxing terms. The sport's entire system of weight classes exists to prevent exactly this kind of imbalance. Critics warn that if fights like this become common, it could undermine the foundation of boxing itself. Even if labeled an exhibition, the physical risk remains, and one wrong punch could change everything.
Assuming there's no rehydration clause, which I don't believe there is, he'll probably weigh around 215 pounds in the ring. That means there's a sort of a 60 to 70 pound difference between the two men in the ring on fight night, which is absolutely enormous. There are weight classes for a reason in boxing, and this is the sort of thing that is typically not allowed or permitted. And like I said in my intro, it goes to the heart of that key question in boxing, which is how big is too big? It's the reason that the pound for pound list exists, where we kind of imagine if everybody was the same size, who's the best, who's number one? And it's a debate that rages on and on and on. And so when I see a fight like this, I think the hardcore boxing fans, generally speaking, have felt frustrated by it. Yes, because we want Gervonta Davis as part of the actual sport, competing for world titles against the other elite guys in his weight class. But also because if he gets knocked out and loses to Jake Paul, it creates this illusion that Jake Paul's much better than he actually is. And so I guess the question for me is, can Gervonta Davis beat Jake Paul, or will Jake Paul simply be too massive? Can Jake Paul use his size, or will Gervonta Davis simply be too skilled? What's the answer here? And in trying to answer this, I looked to history, and there's one fight that immediately popped out of my mind, and I thought, I wonder what the size difference was there. In fact, it may even be more significant, and it was, and the small guy won. Some of you might be thinking about it right now. It's when David Haye took on the monster, the absolutely ginormous human being, Nikolai Valuev. I think it took place around 2009. So at the time, I was literally a teenager. I didn't have a clue what I was looking at, and I'd fully bought into this David versus Goliath story. But I think it's an excellent example here to draw comparisons between the Gervonta Davis-Jake Paul fight to try and understand whether or not this is a good template and blueprint to try and predict and understand what the size difference might look like in the ring. Now, David Haye was 6'3" and was 217 pounds for the Valuev fight, whereas Valuev was 7 foot tall and weighed 316 pounds.